So you've been traveling for a couple of years now, and you're going to be traveling for a few more years. It sounds like. Okay, so far, tell me about your worst day on the road, and then tell me about your best day on the road.
Wow, boy, that's a tough one.
Tell me about something.
Okay, I have my worst day on the road.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
My worst day on the road was in Madagascar.
Oh.
It was, if I had known how challenging Madagascar was, I never would have gone. Ever.
What was it, rough roads now, or
no roads? It was
lack
of infrastructure. Just the roads are in such horrendous condition. The asphalt just sort of falls away to maybe a foot drop down, and there are big trucks coming, and they just come because the potholes are everywhere. They'll come in whatever lane is the best lane, even if it's yours, and there are big black spots on the road, so you don't know if it's zebu poop or if it's a hole or if it's diesel or oil. And then you mix a little rain with that, and I was probably the least experienced rider out of the 10 women, and I had a day where I was passing a truck. There are lots of little trucks, and you just beep and then you pass somebody. And so I was passing a truck, and there was an oncoming big truck, and I thought he was going to stay in his lane, and kept on getting closer and closer and closer. And I hit a big oil or diesel spot, and my back tire hit the rear tire of the truck to my right.
Ooh.
And then hit the front tire of the truck to my left.
Ooh.
And then the front tire of the truck to my right. And I thought, so I was like ricocheting between.
Yeah.
I thought I was going down and going to be run over by the big truck.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I kept that bike upright.
Yeah.
I was by myself, so nobody else was around. We sort of were spread out pretty long during the day, and I pulled over and got off the bike and was shaking, and I thought, I have no choice. I have to get back on the bike and go to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I have to. And I thought, I thought this was going to be fun. This isn't fun. I don't ever think I want to ride again. And as soon as I got on the bike, that feeling passed. But I thought, I almost died.
So later on, you probably had a drink with the girls and talked about it, and
yep.
Then things got better.
Things got a little better.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Did you ever have any of these days where something turns out real bad, but then at the end it turns out to be the best day of your trip? I know there was some times when I was in South America that it turned out where I had a breakdown, like my engine failed in Chile, and I had to tear it down and fix it, and it was turning out to be a very bad day. But then, since my engine had failed, now I had time to really visit the town and talk to the locals, and I'd never had the opportunity to do that before, and it took me a day to fix it, but it was one of those times that it would have been a trip ender for most people, but I had a spare part with me to repair it, and it turned out to be one of the best days I ever had. As a matter of fact, that's the day I think about more than any other days, while I was gone, for those 4 months. Have you had any times like that where things turn out really bad, but then after it's all said and done,
No,
it was
but
pretty
I've been
cool?
so blessed. I've had just amazing experiences. I was in Faith, South Dakota, doing laundry in the laundromat, in this great little laundromat that's an honor system. So they just had a little slot, and you would just put in whatever you thought the washing machines and dryers were worth.
Oh, okay.
They were home machines, no coins in them. You just put a little money in the jar. And I was doing laundry, and I had my phone, and I was checking my email, and this older gentleman came in with a cowboy hat and bowed-legged and all broken, in his Wrangler jeans all neatly and starched and pressed, in his cowboy boots, and he sat down. He said, well, I should have brought something to do. And I put my phone down, and I had a 2.5 conversation with this gentleman.
Oh.
And it was amazing. And so there was a little rodeo in town, and he said, oh, you going to come to the rodeo tonight? I said, no, I went to the free rodeo last night. Tonight's rodeo is $15, and that's not in the budget. And he said, "Oh, you're going to come with me. You're going to be my date." But we sat there and we talked about he'd been ranching there with his family since the 50s, and his family lost the ranch in '74, and so he'd been ranching with somebody else. About an hour and a half out of town, but he comes into town once or twice a week to do his wash and get his mail. And he was saying that, he's got 2 horses and he really likes the big horse, but the big horse is a little gate shy. I just heard all these stories about, he still ranches on horseback.
Now, at that time, how old was he?
He was 74.
Okay.
Wow.
And I said, well, how am I going to wreck it? Well, he gave me $20, and he said, here, you buy your ticket and you just come in and look for me in the stands. And I thought, well, he said, well, you just ask anybody in town. They all know me. So I get to the gate, and I said, is MB around? And they said, oh, yeah, he's around here somewhere. So I took a really good look at him in the laundromat. I'm like, okay, he's got a white straw hat, and he had a Justin shirt on, and Wranglers and boots. I walked into the grandstands. They're all, these men look exactly the same with their cowboy hats and their shirts. Anyway, I found him and sat next to him, and it was just a great evening. It was so much fun.
Okay, great.
Well, that's neat.
So would you say that was one of the best times that you had while you were out?
I've had so many great days. I've seen amazing wildlife. I've ridden some just spectacular roads.
Okay.
They're all great days.
Okay, well, that's good. You got a good attitude.
I do have a great attitude. I'm definitely a glasses half full kind of person. I just thought of a bad day experience.
Oh, let's hear about it.
I was hosted by somebody in Arivaca, Arizona, and great people. I was down there for the Arivaca Outback Rally and Desert Days Rally, and then stayed on to do some day work for them, and was getting ready to leave, and I was out front of the house. We were all talking, and there was a big crash, and I walked around the house, and my motorcycle, the KLX, with a faulty stand, had fallen over, and the bar end punched a hole in Andy's very expensive BMW car door.
Oh.
And so I called my insurance company. It was $1,900. They had to
smoke.
ship a door from Germany.
Oh.
And Andy's a guy who's always led a very frugal life. This was the first really nice car he's ever had. When I left, the tool I used most often was my credit card when it came to motorcycle repairs.
Okay.
So I've been really fortunate to meet some people and have people work with me and teach me. So I came a long way on that Kawasaki. I felt really comfortable, from rebuilding the forks to a valve adjustment, and now I'm gonna start all over again on this bike.
And you're one of the few women that can actually change tires.
I can.
Right? Yeah, you can do it. Because out of all the other women I know, I don't think any of them could. That's a skill, it's not like the most fun thing to do in the world, but I feel that I need to keep doing it on my bike, because if I have a flat when I'm out in the wild, I won't feel overwhelmed.
I had those Kenda Big Blocks that I brought with me to Canada and then put on before we left.
Yeah.
And I called a shop there, and they wanted $150 to put a rear tire on.
Just one tire?
One tire. That's if I brought them the wheel. If I brought them the bike, it would have been more. And I already own the tires. The tires aren't even, they're Kendas. They're $80 tires.
Yeah.